Title: The Pink Daffodil and the Assassin Audio Teledrama. Chapter 1. The Morning Call. John Drake Jr. sat at his usual table outside the Pink Daffodil Cafe in Torak Village, the morning sun casting a golden glow over the bustling street, a flat white steam beside him, and a copy of The Australian lay open on the table. To the casual observer, he was just another well-dressed professional enjoying Melbourne's cafe culture, but Drake was anything but ordinary. The son of a legendary British secret agent, John Drake Sr., he had grown up in Melbourne after his father retired from the espionage game. Drake Sr., now in his 80s, lived a quiet life in Olinda, hidden away in the Dandenong Ranges behind a walled garden, far from prying eyes. Drake Jr. had inherited his father's sharp mind and sense of duty, and after being headhunted at Melbourne University, he joined the ranks of Australia's intelligence agencies, ASIO and ASIS. Drake's safe house was a modest one-bedroom flat on the top floor of a building on Punt Road, near the intersection with Commercial Road. It was an ideal position, with clear lines of secret radio communications across Melbourne. As he sipped his coffee, his UHF radio transceiver buzzed softly in his pocket. He discreetly retrieved it and listened to the secure message from ASIO headquarters, an unmarked building near the corner of Wells Street and Middleton Lane in South Bank. The message was brief but urgent. Threat identified. Foreign dignitary at risk. Assassination plot. Gala event at Government House. Operatives posing as waiters. Source: Lady Hamilton-Smyth. Mission: identify, foil, protect, proceed with caution. Drake finished his coffee, left a generous tip, and made his way back to his flat. The mission was on. Chapter 2. The Pink Daffodil Connection. The Pink Daffodil Cafe was a Torak institution, owned by the flamboyant and formidable Lady Hamilton-Smyth, a former hairdresser to the rich and famous. She had parlayed her connections into a thriving cafe business and a prominent place in Melbourne's social scene. Her cafe was a hub of gossip and influence, and she had a knack for overhearing conversations that others might miss. Drake arranged a meeting with Lady Hamilton-Smyth at her cafe. She greeted him with a dramatic flourish, her vibrant personality on full display. "Mr. Drake, darling, what a pleasure. I hear you're in need of an invitation to the gala. Lucky for you, I have a spare." Drake nodded, his tone polite but firm. "Your assistance is invaluable, Lady Hamilton-Smyth. This is a matter of national security." She waved a hand dismissively. "Oh, darling, no need to explain. I've always had a soft spot for a man in a well-tailored suit. Just promise me you'll keep things interesting." With the invitation secured, Drake began his preparations. He studied the guest list, the layout of Government House, and the security protocols. His plan was to blend in as Lady Hamilton-Smyth's +1 while keeping a close eye on the waitstaff, who were the most likely suspects. Chapter 3. The Gala. The night of the gala arrived, and Drake, dressed in a sleek black tuxedo, accompanied Lady Hamilton-Smyth to Government House. The grand building was illuminated against the night sky, its gardens meticulously manicured. Inside, the air was thick with the hum of conversation and the clink of champagne glasses. Drake moved through the crowd with ease, his sharp eyes scanning the room. He noted the waiters circulating with trays of drinks and canapes. His focus was on their movements, their interactions, and any signs of nervousness or deviation from protocol. As the evening progressed, Drake identified 3 waiters who seemed out of place. They moved with a precision that suggested training, and their eyes darted around the room more than necessary. Drake discreetly photographed them and sent the images to his ASIO handlers for immediate analysis. Moments later, his earpiece buzzed with a response. "Confirmed. Operatives linked to dissident group. Proceed with caution." Chapter 4. The Foil. Drake knew he had to act quickly. The dignitary was due to give a speech in the main hall, and the operatives would likely strike then. He approached one of the waiters, engaging him in conversation while subtly maneuvering him away from the crowd. With a swift, practiced move, Drake disarmed the man and rendered him unconscious, hiding him in a nearby storage room. He repeated the process with the second waiter, but the third operative proved more challenging. The man noticed Drake's approach and bolted toward the kitchen. Drake pursued, his movements silent and precise. In the kitchen, he cornered the operative, who brandished a knife. Drake disarmed him with a well-placed strike and subdued him, ensuring the threat was neutralized. Chapter 5, The Aftermath. With the operatives detained and the dignitary safe, Drake slipped away from the gala, his identity still a secret. He returned to his safe house, where he debriefed his handlers. The operatives were found to be part of a larger network, and their capture led to the dismantling of several sleeper cells across the country. The following morning, Drake was back at his usual table at the Pink Daffodil, a flat whites in hand and the Australian Open on the table. Lady Hamilton-Smyth approached, her eyes twinkling with mischief. "Well, darling, I trust the evening was eventful?" Drake smiled faintly. "You could say that. Thank you for your help, Lady Hamilton-Smyth." She waved a hand dismissively. "Oh, darling, it's all in a day's work. Just promise me you'll come back for coffee soon. The Pink Daffodil is always open to its favorite secret agent." As she walked away, Drake's mind was already racing through the details of his next mission. The world was full of dangers, but for John Drake Jr., there was no place he'd rather be. Melbourne was his city, and he was its guardian. The Danger Man legacy lived on, one mission at a time. Epilogue. The legacy continues. In the weeks that followed, Drake's actions were quietly celebrated within the intelligence community. His father, John Drake Sr., called to congratulate him. "You've done well, son," the elder Drake said. "But remember, this is just one battle. The war never ends." Drake smiled. He knew his father was right. The world was full of shadows, and someone had to stand watch. For John Drake Jr., that was more than a job, it was a calling. And so, as the sun set over Melbourne, Drake returned to his desk, ready for the next mission. The Danger Man legacy lived on.